Hi, everyone, and welcome to the sixth episode of Weekly Rewind with Beyond the Matches. The space is specially curated to talk about the psychological aspect of the game, the impact players of the week, and a special question and answer session where you get to send us questions and we try our best to answer them. And today on our episode, we have Prakhar Sachdev and Vaibhav Tripathi from Beyond the Matches. Prakhar Sachdev is a sports buff. He mainly types of live sports for earning, and he is also a proud fan of Chennai Super Kings. Vaibhav Tripathi is a life sciences student, and he is currently writing for five different websites. He also hosts a podcast by himself and is also a fan of Chennai Super Kings. Vaibhav is also a member of the Whistle Podu Army, which is the official fan group of Chennai Super Kings. So, talking about the psychological aspect for this week, it is pretty difficult to talk about one particular psychological aspect that has happened in the week because this week of IPL has been a thriller of turnarounds. We have seen a great comeback. We have seen Jasprit Bumrah making a comeback with a fifer. We have seen Rashid Khan, Harshal Patel, Liam Livingstone, Michelle Marsh, everyone just giving their best out there and turning the games for their teams. So the main takeaway point for this week has to be that if you put your heart into it, you're going to get it. But it is similar to what we discussed in the last week, right? Like if you commit to something, if you give your best into something, you're going to get the results. But this time around, there is one special team that has made the news for reasons that were quite external, and that was Delhi Capitals. And I would like to just put something across for them, that is the resilience in the camp is on another level. To have so many players being falling sick, being injured, we have seen other teams also having an injury scare. People just getting ruled out of the whole tournament of IPL. It has been very difficult for each and every team. But to see DC pulling it off, despite the pressures, despite the obstacles that they are facing, missing out Prithvi Shaw and the key players in their games, it is amazing to see how in each game they are trying their best. It may not be something which matches our expectation of their best, but it is something that is their best on that given day. So that is something that has been an highlight of the week, that to see DC just coming up and putting a show for the fans and also giving their best and pulling off wins from situations that we did not really expect them to. So that is something, resilience, commitment, and of course, who can forget about the number of wickets that has been taken this week? We have seen fours and fifers happening. We have seen some really blazing amount of sixes and fours going around in this week, which has been a treat to the eyes for all the fans who have seen the matches this week. So basically, if I have to summarize about the psychological aspect, I would just say it in two lines: go back, watch all the games again on Hotstar, and you will understand how much we can actually learn only from this one particular week, which is going to influence the whole point table for the coming week and the knockout stage. So, while we are talking about the psychological aspect and talking about how players have made a turnaround, let's see how impactful some of the players have been for this week. And we will start with Prakhar. Who has been that impact player for this week, according to you?
Okay, so impact player for me for the past week has been Kagiso Rabada, and Rabada had a tough start. Firstly, he joined IPL late. He was busy in South Africa playing against Bangladesh. He joined the Punjab Kings camp late, and immediately after joining, he was not amongst the wickets. But and he was way and he was not in even in the contention to for a fight for the purple cap. But in last few games for Punjab Kings, Rabada has been at his very best, and now all of a sudden, with a bag load of wickets, he has now moved to the third spot in the wickets in the top wicket taking tally this season. That shows his consistency, and I'm kind of feeling sad for Rabada at the end of tonight's game because he would be seeing that he has given his best shot for Punjab Kings, and even tonight he played well, he bowled well, but he would he would be disappointed and heartbroken to see that despite his best performance, despite he giving his best, Punjab Kings are more very likely out of the playoff race, and his former side Delhi Capitals, whom they left out, who left out Kagiso Rabada in favor of Anrik Nokia, are now ahead and very likely to qualify as the fourth team in the playoff. So, but yeah, seeing Rabada's consistent performance in the past week, he was my impact player for the week, and I just hope Rabada has one last good outing for Punjab Kings, and yeah, he finishes with a tally of around 25, 26, a 3-4 or a 4-4. So that would be a good season for Rabada. And beyond that, we cannot expect more because Punjab Kings are very likely are out of the playoff race and he won't get another match to perform. But yeah, thumbs up to Rabada the way he has come back in this season and again shown that he is one of those bowlers one of the best performing bowlers of his age group, and
Hmm.
most importantly, he's one of those bowlers who consistently plays all three formats of the game. He's an excellent test bowler, he's equally brilliant one day and
Yeah.
a T20 bowler as well. And he's so young, I guess he's 26, 27. He has such a long career ahead of him. So I'm growing a fan of Rabada and I hope to see him come back next year and again be amongst wickets. So my impact player of the week, Rabada.
Definitely, we definitely want to see Rabada back in the wickets. And it's amazing how you put it across that Rabada is someone who had a tough season this year, and to see him actually just keep growing, it's really great. So yeah, and talking about the teams, Vaibhav, I remember in the last week I had asked to predict who would be the top four teams at the end of the week. So if we go by the Sunday um, match, it was actually the correct prediction of having Gujarat, Lucknow, Rajasthan, and Royal Challengers Bangalore. But today, after today's game, we have Delhi Capitals coming into the contention for the fourth spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that happens. And moving on to knowing your impact player for this week.
Okay, so first of all, the thing that we discussed last time around, that it was the predictions about the points table, and I said I'm not very good with my predictions, but again, for the fourth spot, I'll still say that RCB are slightly ahead, only because of the players that they have, and also I think that somewhere near, I know that DC, although they have fought back really well in the second phase of the IPL, but I think they still have something that will keep them at the bay. So I'm still going RCB. I seriously want them to do well this year and seriously want them to go ahead. So yeah, now coming back to the player of the past week that impressed me the most was another bowler, another fast bowler. He hails from Bhilwadi. He's known as Bhilwadi Express, like Shoaib Akhtar used to be called as the Rawalpindi Express, and his name is Mukesh Chaudhary. And it's not only like Mukesh Chaudhary has done well in the last week, but he's been doing well since his debut. After he made his debut, like immediately after 2 or 3 games, people started judging him. That is he the correct replacement, or like people you are say, like many from the insiders of CSK were saying that he's a swing bowler, so he'll be the one who is going to take the charge in the power play overs. But after a few bad games, like it's not easy, it's not always easy to make your debut in the biggest and the toughest T20 league of the tournament and immediately start doing well. As MS said, only few bowlers matured early in their careers, and not all the bowlers like are same. And so he took his time in this initial few days. In the initial few games, he didn't bowl that well, but as soon as he found his rhythm, now we are seeing that how capable he is with his skills. And that's what impressed me. For the first time I saw Mukesh Chaudhary was last year during a net session. He was bowling to Cheteshwar Pujara, and he actually got him troubled 2 3 times. He bowled that those in swingers that he used to do. So at that time I noticed him and his action. If you'll watch closely him, if you'll closely watch him, then that resembles more to Zahir Khan, especially that jump that he takes when he approaches the crease. That jump, so that is very, and his wrist position. The most important part about swing bowling is to keep your wrist position upright and holding it in a good shape. So he does that really well. And the game against Mumbai that we lost at the Wankhede Stadium, you see, Wankhede is always helpful for the fast bowler. It's like it's a paradise for the fast bowlers, as they say. So, but again, he's not only swung the ball in Wankhede, but he has swung the ball in Pune as well as in DY Patil as well. So he has shown that he can bowl in the power play overs. But now, what I would like to see from him from the next game and from next season as well, that he will bowl more in the death as well. Like he'll not be a reliant power play overs because he will be sharing the power play duties with Deepak Chair. As he said, that MS has already asked him to focus on his death bowling skills, and I think he's doing well because he now, after a few games, MS has already started experimenting with him. He is now bowling in the middle overs as well. So he's not only swinging the ball, he's using the off cutters as well. That Mustafizur has mastered the art of bowling the off cutters. So he's doing that in a really good way. So I'm like Mukesh Chaudhary is like now getting in a good rhythm, and it's a very good sign for CSK because we have never known for a good fast bowling. Now we have Mukesh Chaudhary, Simarjeet, and Mathisha Pathirana and everyone. So now Mukesh Chaudhary with Deepak Chahar next year. And now this season only one game is left, so I don't think he'll have much impact on that. And one thing I forgot to say about him, that I think he's the leading wicket taker in the power play this season. He has taken the most wickets in the power play, 11 or 12. So next is I think Umesh Yadav. So he's like he's bowling really well. That only suggests that after having few initial games, he just got his rhythm back in the game against MI when he got the man of the match award, and after that he's a very different bowler. And credit goes to the management as well for continuously backing him, and of course to the captain. He always like whenever he has accepted that thing, that whenever the game is finished, he always goes to the captain pool and asks for his advice, what he did right, what he has done wrong. So you need that thing, that even if you're doing well, you need to go to your seniors or the person who has more experience than you and ask what the things I have done right and where I have gone wrong in this game. So that's the big thing about Mukesh Chaudhary, that he's a learner.
Indeed, and as far as I know, learners are the one who actually make it big ahead in their life. So hopefully to see more of Ravada and Mukesh Chaudhary making impact in the last week or before we get into the knockout phase of the league. So it's going to be an interesting week ahead. So moving on to our quick question and answer session. So we have some really interesting questions coming in this week. And the first one is from @Indic South on Twitter. He says that should Umran Malik play in the test match in England? And he feels that he should. So thoughts on this, Prakhar?
Well, why not? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. The world is talking about just one and one young Indian player, and that is Umran Malik. And for what, if my memory is right, that the series is leveled at 2 games apiece, and England and England test batters are not playing in IPL. They've almost no one. Only Bairstow would be one of those players who would play in the England's England's test team. So he is one of those bowlers who England batters will find it really tough to face. And if those few 3 days, 4 days, the conditions are overcast, he will wreak havoc. We will see England struggling. England already, as we saw in the Ashes series, they have problem with their batting lineup. And if a bowler like Umran Malik comes up with bowling at 155, 156, clocking 159. Uh, he, he, that game will be done and dusted in 2 days, 3 days, and India will win the match. And ask T20 leagues aside, performing in T20 leagues aside, the real test and the real show is at the international level when a player performs. And if someone asks Umran right now what is his dream, he will definitely say he wants to put that India jersey and make his debut for India and pick some wickets for uh, the Indian Test team. So why not give him the debut? And he's one of those players who's creating so much of buzz, I guess, after Jasprit Bumrah. So, so yes, I, if things were in my hand, I would have definitely taken him to England and unleash him on the England batters. And I'm looking for, I am hopeful that he gets to, he is picked for that Indian Test squad and he performs well. The world is talking about him, and it's about time. He deserves his place in the Indian Test squad.
Definitely, and we all, I will agree to that, that we want to see Umran Malik um, in the England pitches doing the magic that he does here. So, moving on, Vaibhav, this one's for you. Who do you think are the youngsters, according to you, who have impressed a lot and have the potential of making it big in the future? And this question is by Robin Rounder on Twitter.
Hi, Robin, and I'm more than happy to answer your question because Robin is one of my dear friends. So, yeah, now coming to the see, this IPL has already been we have said that it's been about youngsters performing. Every team has got youngsters, and like I can have a 22, I can have a few full 25 members of squad of youngsters who are uncapped youngsters. So if you will talk about only about Indian youngsters to be specific, then I'll go with Ayush Badoni, Mukesh Chaudhary, then Simarjeet Singh, then Mohsin Khan, Sai Kishore, then who are Rahul Tewatia, uncapped. He's also uncapped. Then Gujarat Titans, Sai Sudarshan, Jagdishan is also a very good batter. Then um, on and from MI that guy Ritik Shokeen, he's a very good bowler, that off break bowler. So yeah, there are many youngsters, but to name a few, these guys are like genuinely good players, and I think this much will be enough.
Definitely. And I'll just add a few more names to the list, which can
Please,
actually
please.
surprise a lot of fans. Is like we can have Riyan Parag, Yashasvi Jaiswal, and everyone joining the troop very, very soon. So hopefully to see the youngsters, the young blood in blue, just unleashing themselves on at the international level and conquering the World Cups. Hopefully, we keep our fingers crossed. So moving on to the third question. This one is by Marvelous Mukesh on Twitter. He says like, what went wrong with SRH suddenly? They bowled out RCB for 68 and then conceded almost 200 in the next two matches and couldn't recover from there. What a captain or management can do in such cases, considering Kane himself is struggling with the bat. Prakhar, would you like to answer this one?
Okay, so the answer lies within the question. When they bowled out RCB to below 100, it means their bowling was at their best. Umran Malik started the season well. Marco Janssen was bowling well. Bhuvneshwar Kumar was bowling economically. So uh, if we look closely, SRH's strength lies more in their bowling rather than their batting. And once Umran Malik lost a bit of a form, Natarajan got injured, Marco Jansen's form became wavered, the wheels came off, and the team lost form. And yes, it is now very evident that Kane Williamson has had a very poor season. People say that Williamson is not a good T20 batter, but I would disagree. If Williamson gets going, if he gets through that initial phase of 6 overs and 7 overs, it becomes really tough for any bowler in the world to get his wicket. But yeah, Williamson has struggled this season, and that is reflecting once he gets out and Abhishek Sharma gets out, and the rest of the batting just falls apart. So uh, SRH, they have a very outside chance, but very unlikely to make it to the top four. But next season, they should focus on their bowling. And one thing they could do is they could add some quality spinners. As we are seeing them, as the league phase is coming towards an end, the pitches are turning. So they don't have a quality spinners in their bowling lineup. So they could attack a few good bowling spinners before the start of the next season, and they could reshuffle their batting order and as to be a better side next season. And yeah, as far as this season is concerned, once the bowlers lost form, SRH lost form. So, and Williamson has to answer his critiques next season, coming back next season with a good show. He had a few years back, he was second highest run scorer in a season, only behind Rishabh Pant, and he scored some 600 odd runs.
Yeah,
600 odd runs is a really good season for any batter. So yeah, Williamson will have to come back, and will have to look at their batting order. So yeah,
definitely.
hopefully your question is answered.
He was the
Yeah.
highest scorer in 2018. Orange
Ah,
cap winner, na?
Mm-hmm.
He was the
okay.
orange cap winner in that season.
And there was a tough race between Pant and
Yeah,
Williamson. So he can fight with the he can fight. That shows he can fight with a batsman as dynamic as Rishabh Pant in
Rishabh
a
Pant.
race
Yeah,
to in a race for orange cap. So yeah, and
actually, he defied the odds in that season because there was too much of pressure, outside pressure, that he's replacing
mm,
David Warner as a skipper. So how he's going to perform as a batter? But he took his team to the finals and he was the leading run scorer that season. So that really speaks a lot about Kane Williamson as a player.
mm,
Definitely. So I hope, like Prakhar mentioned, that the answer lies in the question. Just strengthen your batting order, uh, just strengthen more of your bowling, and you have a better performance from SRH coming in the next season. So moving on to our fourth question, it is by Adirit Panda 03, which is Hardik, and he's asking, what are your views on Gautam Gambhir's tough talk in the LSG dressing room after the loss with Gujarat Titans? What should be the talk now in LSG dressing room after two consecutive losses towards knockout? Should they play gamble and correct batting order or play safe with minor changes? I would say Gautam Gambhir is at a position where he knows the team much better than what we do from the insides. And if he has opted the way of tough talk, then it is something that actually works for the team. So hopefully, when we see them on the field next, we can see the impact of it in their performance. Coming to uh, what the talk should be now, the talk now has to be clear. Whatever it is about, is it, are you here to win or are you here to take the trophy? So do you want to go one match at a time, or do you want to just aim the trophy and just push yourself in every ball, every game, every over? So it depends how you are preparing from here, which will decide how you are going to make it through the knockouts. And it won't be a gamble to change the batting order, to be very honest, knowing how um, LSG has been performing in this season. They might just take it as a challenge themselves and prove themselves in different positions, because the players are in a very positive mindset. Yeah, a few losses here and there can affect, but it won't affect to a level where they might just lose a spot on knockout, because they are in a very safe space. So there is no use of playing more safer than this. It is now about going out and just taking the challenge head on and seeing what happens. So, as if all the players we have seen at a highest level mentioned that take the losses at your chin and you know where you stand. So, I think if that kind of talk happens in the LSG dressing room, we might just see Gujarat and LSG coming as the finalist. But yeah, let's keep our hopes and our aims a little lower and see how the game unfolds in the upcoming week. Which brings us to our very last question, which is by Arjun. Life is an elation. On Twitter, he says, like, can you divulge more into the significance of a pinch hitter in T20s during power play and why it can become a norm in cricket in times to come? Sorry, yeah. Vaibhav, your thoughts on this one?
Okay, so thank you for asking this question, Arjun Bhaiya. Hope you are doing well. And now coming to your question, the importance of pinch hitter, I think it's been very clear in the T20 format that first of all, the batting order needs to be flexible, and the batters who are playing in the 11, they need to be flexible, because flexibility is the prima thing what we demand, what T20 cricket demands from a team and from an individual. That if you are playing as a batter, you need to be flexible. You shouldn't be an means condition oriented or situation oriented, or you can say I am a top order player. I cannot play in the middle order. See, Liam Livingstone for Lancashire is a top order player, but now he's playing in the middle order. So, and similarly, like Mayank Agrawal in this season only, he's a top order batter in Test cricket, in for Karnataka, for Punjab as well. He has all got all success in the top order, but for just for his team's sake, he's batting in the middle order. It's not like his choice, but he's sacrificing because he's the captain, so he needs to do that, and he has understood that. So no one can say that we have this preferred position, we can play on, we will only play and perform in that position. Okay, it's about flexibility. If you are playing T20 cricket, then you need to be flexible, because it's not always that you are going to come. Even if you are number 3, then sometimes it may happen that openers will have a long partnership till 15-16 over, and then you will came in the final 5 over, then you will have no time to settle but to go after the bowlers. So that sort of things happens in T20 cricket. So I think pinch hitters concept is, yes, like one player I can say that of Yorkshire, David Willey. They use, even though he's a swing bowler, his primary role is to bowl, but he's being used as a number 3, and he has got a couple of hundreds for Yorkshire in the T20 blast. So I think the concept of pinch hitter is like absolutely fine. If you want to use a pinch hitter, then you can use it in this format, and it has got success to the franchisee who have tried it. So it's not always it will work, but it's the success and failure ratio is up to the individual and to the team. How they are going to perform in that particular, that only will define the success and failure. So yeah, the pinch hitters concept from me is like very fine with T20 cricket.
Amazing. And before we conclude, I'll just add one more point to this, that when we talk about power play as a starting point of the game, uh, pinch hitter can actually change the game. It can actually change the game for the fielding team, because the moment they get going, the bowlers are under pressure, and you will find that the batting order that is coming in next will be much more confident of going and attacking those bowlers because they are already weak on their game. So pinch hitter concept will actually work much better and stronger when it comes into IPL and in the upcoming times, because it will change the game. Also, it is like a pendulum. If it swings hard on the right side, it will swing the hardest on the left. It has a con that it can also lead to a collapse, because early wicket can mean a mini collapse or like low on confidence in the upcoming batters. So if you are ready to take the risk, then why not just have a pinch hitter in the top order for yourself, especially for the power play when you're playing T20s, because it has become very competitive. The death overs has like great finishers. So to have a great start, you need a great pinch hitter. So with that,
Also
yeah, yeah,
one last one. Also, what it does is it passes a psychological message to the opposition that
yes,
now with the pinch hitter is coming, now what it will now what opposition will think that they have a prolonged batting lineup. Okay,
hmm,
now this player will bat at 8, so they have a long tail. So this also happens that if pinch hitter plays well, then the team that is batting,
yes.
they have a prolonged batting lineup.
I think the concept of pinch hitter is already going to set a mental game on for all the teams,
Yeah.
and would be exciting to see like 10 teams putting that concept in and actually making it much more interesting than it is right now. So with that, we conclude the sixth episode for Weekly Rewind with Beyond the Matches. And as we conclude, I would like to thank everyone for watching this episode and supporting us through all the previous episodes. And do follow us on our socials. Check out our individual socials in the description below, and do comment your thoughts on this episode. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box or put a question and tweet it us to on Beyond the Matches. Thank you so much for joining Prakhar and Vaibhav.